Ladies and gentlemen, the oceans are fucked, okay? The oceans are fucked, which means we're fucked. The planet's gonna die before 2050. Jesus Christ, someone help us. Welcome back to another episode of the Myles High Club podcast. I am Myles. This is episode number 26. This is going to be a short one, guys. I feel like shit. Last week I came down with I don't know, what do you call it? Is it a cold? Is it a flu? One of those two things. Apparently they're different, but I had one of them. I've been sneezing non-stop. Every time I cough up phlegm. Sorry for the descriptions there. Last week I had a banging headache. Last week, Thursday, Friday, I was probably going through the worst of it. The weekend was a little bit better. I felt not right as rain, but I felt a lot better Sunday evening, Monday. And then Monday night, it just was back again. My sinuses were blocked, so I don't think I have the energy to go as long as I normally go. So this episode, I decided to pick one topic and stick with it. And that topic is the Netflix documentary Seaspiracy. If you haven't watched Seaspiracy already, I don't know where you've been. It's all over social media. It's the biggest. It feels like it's the biggest thing, or it should be. It should, my personal opinion, it should at least be the biggest thing. Now, before I get into Seaspiracy, I understand that Seaspiracy was directed / produced by the same people or person that did Cowspiracy, which I haven't seen yet. And I know there were some things around Cowspiracy, What the Health, being funded or at least created by vegan businesses or vegan people, which again, it makes sense. A meat eater's not going to come out and tell you about how bad meat is. Like a dairy farmer's not going to come out and tell you about how bad dairy is, which is what brings me to this documentary. I don't know where to start. If you don't know what Seaspiracy is, I'll do a quick Myles explanation before we get into it. But Seaspiracy is a documentary that exposes just how dangerous the fishing is, the commercial fishing, how dangerous commercial fishing is, and how it's fucking up everything from marine life to the oceans to people, which I've took notes. I've tried to take notes. I'm not even too sure where to start. So I'm just going to start with some of the things that I took away, which is fishing gear is hold on. His exact words were, I think fishing nets make up for 46% of the plastics in the ocean. Fishing gear in general is over 50% of the plastic in the ocean. And if it's not the ocean, he was specifically talking about that big, the big floating garbage island in between Mexico and somewhere else that he said. That was literally that was the probably one of this whole documentary had me flustered. It was one of the biggest things. A reason why I say that is, again, since when you're watching this documentary and after the documentary, they point out one thing, which is everyone has been pushing the narrative that plastic straws, plastic bags, those kind of things are what's endangering our marine life. That's what's ruining the ocean, which it is. But then he points out, I've got it written down here, plastic straws make up about 0.03% of the plastic in the ocean. Think about this. Think about that. Fishing gear, fishing nets themselves, 46%. Plastic straws, 0.03%. Yet, when you look in the media, you look at programs, you look at influencers, everyone is all pushing about plastic straws. It doesn't help that I'm sure everyone has seen it at some point. There's the video of the turtle that gets rescued and it's got a straw up its nose, and they pull the straw out of its nose and let it go back out into the wild. Things like that definitely helped the whole war on plastic straws, I'm going to call it. But this expose, I don't know what you want to call it, but whatever we're calling it, opened my eyes up. I followed them on Instagram, and they had, you know what, I'm just going to do it because I followed the Seaspiracy page on Instagram, and it was literally just talking about how much they are bad for each other. So give me a sec so I can get on the Seaspiracy page. Found it already. Here we go. So this is the one that caught me. The BBC and other broadcasters have repeatedly failed to tell the truth. Blue Planet 2 was a massive exercise in misdirection. It misled us about the main reasons for the ecological collapse, emphasizing entirely trivial issues like plastic straws instead of commercial fishing. There's so much to dive into when they were talking about all that. But yeah, the fact that it's fishing, we've never heard about this. Not once have we ever heard, or if you have heard, you must be in the right circles. But for me, I have never once heard that fishing nets are the problem, commercial fishing's the problem. I've heard of overfishing. I just thought overfishing was just something that happens, just like you can have over farming and all sorts of things like that. So that was the shock to me. But when they were like 50% of the fishing gear, that's how they should have started it. They should have started this doc. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change anything about the doc, but they should have started the doc with that fact. That led on to everything else, because this guy was all about saving the dolphins and whales at first. It was literally just about saving the dolphins and whales. I think his name, Ali, what's his name? Ali Tabriz, yeah. He's the one that stars. He's the main guy that's narrating and doing all the talking about this as well. So yeah, that was bombshell number one, fishing. And I'm starting with the fishing gear because this expose is all about the fishing industry. So I'm going to start with the fishing gear. So when it comes to what's polluting our planet the most, it's fishing gear. This guy in the documentary even goes to, I think they're called MSC. I'm sure they're called MSC, which is basically some big marine. Here we go. They'll probably pop up the first thing because Marine Stewardship Council. They're obviously going to pop up first because everyone has now been talking about this. So he goes to them and he's talking to them and he says to them, what's the biggest cause of, or what's the biggest quantity of plastic? Listen, the people he talks to are not only they're frustrating, but they seem stupid and they seem like they don't know anything what's going on. Because he was like, what's the biggest cause of plastic in the ocean? And the person replied, microplastics. As far as I'm aware, microplastics is what you call plastics that have broken down into the tiniest of pieces. They are called microplastics. So by answering the question of what makes up most of the plastic in the ocean, and you say microplastics make up 70%, that doesn't help. This guy's like, everyone says it's straws, but fishing nets take up 46%. So fishing gear is over 50%. So the majority of this plastic pollution in our oceans is all to do with fishing nets, commercial fishing, and all that. And every time he says this to people, they don't know what to say. No one says anything. No one condemns fishing. No one says it needs to change. No one says it needs to stop. The two people that do, or the one person that comes on here that actually says this, is someone that used to work, like he founded one of these companies, and because he found them to be so phony, he left. He talks about he was on $100,000 a year salary. He was getting free life insurance, something he can't even get now. He was like, I had no reason to quit. I could have stayed there and carried on being phony, but it was like, I didn't start this to be phony, which I had to commend him for. I really had to commend him for on that. So then that's just one of the smallest things of what's actually going on in there. The next biggest thing, which I don't know how to say, the next biggest thing is the bycatch. So bycatch is responsible for about 40% of the removal of marine wildlife out of the sea. So again, we'll do it again for everyone watching. If you haven't watched it, or if you're not planning to watch it and you just want to know, bycatch. So bycatch in the fishing industry is when a species is caught unintentionally while catching a certain target species and target size of fish. So in the examples they use when it comes to bycatch is tuna. They're all talking about how to buy tuna and things to buy tuna, and he comes up, I should have written this number down, but when he said it, he said these numbers, I nearly threw up because of the way it was going on. So hold on, let me see if I can find the number. Hold on. Right, I can't find the number. I'm not going to sit here in silence while I try and find that. So I'm going to try and guess as close to what he said as I possibly can. But the one of the things he was talking about in this documentary was the bycatch. When it comes to bycatch, he was on about tuna. So these tuna boats go out there and their job is obviously catch tuna. Now in my head, I just assumed fishers went out, you either catching all kinds of fish or you're catching a specific fish. You'd catch that fish, anything you caught that wasn't the fish you wanted would just be released back into the ocean. Seems like common sense, makes perfect sense. Nope, not at all. Literally bycatch, I don't know why it wasn't explaining this, but bycatch, he explains that in bycatch what they're doing is when they're catching tuna, sometimes dolphins, mainly dolphins, but dolphins and whales get caught up in the nets as well. And instead of being released back into the ocean, sometimes they're caught up in the nets, sometimes apparently they're freed. Majority of the time they seem to be captured and killed. Sometimes they're killed and thrown back into the ocean, which again we will touch on that in a moment. But the bycatch was fucking ridiculous. So let me just explain how bad this bycatch was. The bycatch, the guy did some research into one vessel and they were catching tuna, and they caught, I think it was something like they caught 8 tuna, but in the process of catching that 8 tuna, it was something like 24, 26 dolphins were killed in that process. This led into him going to another company talking about Dolphin Safe. I'd never heard of Dolphin Safe beforehand, but if you go to buy tuna, I think it's just, well, we'll stick with tuna because that's what they spoke about. But when you go to buy tuna, some tins of tuna have like a logo on there that says Dolphin Safe. He goes to speak to the whole Dolphin Safe people, the people that are behind Dolphin Safe. And he asked the question, how many dolphins need to be killed, or what's the maximum amount of dolphins that have to be killed before you will say something is dolphin safe? The guy says 0, laughs, and then he's like 1. So he's like, no more than 1 dolphin can be killed before we can call you dolphin safe. So if you go out catching tuna, regardless of how much tuna you catch, as long as you don't kill any more than 1 dolphin, we will give you this stamp to say dolphin safe. It goes into the shops, and then people that still eat fish but care about the environment will see the dolphin safe mark and be like, oh, I will buy from them because they are dolphin safe. And then it unraveled in a matter of seconds. Now the guy doing the interviews, he's not to be offensive, he's not like a master manipulator or a genius. He just seems like someone asking questions. So this is how it goes, kind of. He basically says, can you guarantee that all these ships are dolphin safe? The guy says, no, we can't. So he's like, so basically he gives out dolphin safe things, but they can't guarantee it's dolphin safe. And he's like, why can't you guarantee it's dolphin safe? Puts it down to there being too many factors. One, they have observers. He said that they have observers that go on ships to observe that they're being dolphin safe, but he said they're not out there all the time. I think he says it's like once or twice a year, or it's a few times a year they go out, considering these things are on the sea every day. Once or twice a year they go out to see if it's dolphin safe. That's one. Another factor is these observers can be bribed. Who's like, they can get on the ships, they'll just get bribed by the captain, say whatever, and then it's fine. Or they get threatened, so they're like, you tell anyone about this, will kill you, and then they obviously believe it, and nothing else happens from it. And I was just like, so hold on a minute. This guy, this company, this organization is out here trying to protect marine life by saying what products are dolphin safe, but they can't guarantee that it's dolphin safe. And then in one of the most confusing things in this documentary, the guy literally says, so are they dolphin safe? He says, no, there is no way to guarantee they're dolphin safe. So then the guy replies, so there's no way at all that we can provide that it's dolphin. There's no way you can guarantee it's dolphin safe. How can you say it's dolphin safe? He then replies straight after that, I can say it's dolphin safe because it's guaranteed. And then the other guy luckily calls him out straight away. He's like, you just said it's not guaranteed. So literally in the span of 10 seconds, the guy says, we can't guarantee for it to be dolphin safe. He gets asked the question, and then his immediate reply is, we can guarantee it's dolphin safe. We can almost 100% guarantee it is dolphin safe, which is a contradiction. And then another one that just made him look like an absolute twat is the guy, Ali, that's doing the documentary, says to him, well, what can we do? How can we guarantee to make it dolphin safe? He basically starts pressing him. And the guy's response is, well, you see, the thing is, the world can be a very difficult place. Nothing to do with the question. He literally says, how can we make things dolphin safe, or how can you put things out and say it's dolphin safe, but you can't guarantee it? And this guy literally responds, what can I say? The world's a crazy place. The world's a difficult place, which is, sorry if you can hear that. I think neighbours somewhere are doing construction, so if you can hear that drilling, I apologise, but I'm recording at 10:30 in the morning instead of 10 o'clock at night, which is it's a good change for me. It means I can actually go to bed on time tonight. So that was Bycatch. Again, I'm not going to go into too much details. You need to go and watch this program, because you're going to listen to me and think, oh, that was interesting. Go and watch the program, because I'm not going to spoil or reveal everything. I just need something to talk about for like 30-40 minutes, because I feel like shit. I can't be bothered. But consistency is key. I'm not skipping out on an episode. This is why I need a host, like a co-host, because then I could have just stayed in bed and someone else could have come and looked after all this for me. So again, let me go into some more about the bycatch. What else did these guys say about the bycatch? So again, according to Seaspiracy, 10,000 dolphins are killed each year as bycatch, and that's just on the west coast of France alone. So just on the west coast of France, 10,000 dolphins are killed each year because they get caught up in something they're not meant to be caught up in. Imagine that. People are out there trying to catch tuna. Dolphins are minding their business, probably eating tuna or swimming with the tuna. And because people are catching tuna, they end up catching these dolphins, and that has resulted in 10,000 dolphins a year being killed. They claim that around 300,000 dolphins, whales, and porpoises are killed globally per year by the fishing industry. Again, you really need to go and watch it. Really need to go and watch it. What else are the ones? There's another one. There's hold on. Did I write it down? I think it's called. I need to write. Hold on. Is it Taiji? Taiji. I can't remember how they pronounce it. It's a place called Taiji. So the slaughter at Taiji, which is a place in Japan. It's like a cove. If you haven't heard of it, I'm just gonna read you a little bit. But according to Seaspiracy, local fishermen who are protected by the police and a wall of silence from authorities, they drive these animals into a cove. They capture some dolphins to sell to the global marine recreation park trade around 100 grand per animal. So in Japan, illegally, they are capturing, or they go out on their boats. They're driving dolphins into this little cove that's like the size of a football field, I think they say. And then once they get them into the cove, they capture the dolphins to sell for around 100 grand. And this is to the global marine recreation park trade. So this is a big thing. Oh, man. But because, again, the rest, so 100 grand per animal. This is the crazy thing. They will go out and try and catch as many dolphins as possible. If they were to catch 10 dolphins and only, I don't know how they measure what dolphin they decide to sell and not to sell. The dolphins they decide not to sell are butchered, they're killed. Again, they're not released back out into the ocean. They're not left for nature to deal with them. They literally collect dolphins, and if they don't want anything to do with the dolphins, they don't want to sell that dolphin, they kill the dolphin. They don't eat the dolphins. They don't harvest any of their parts for medicine or for good luck. Well, if they do, they didn't say this in the thing, but it's literally that. And the worst thing about this is, again, it says, yeah, they're butchered, and they're not butchered for their meat, because apparently when it comes to dolphins, their meat is too high in mercury for human consumption. But again, in the documentary, the guy says it, because the bluefin tuna fishery is located nearby, this sees them as reasons, but because bluefin tuna fishery located nearby sees them as reasons, its catches are plummeting. So, I don't know how to, I'm going to give it away. They're basically catching these dolphins to sell them. The ones that they don't capture, they kill off to make themselves feel a lot better. The people that work in the cove must be working with the people in the tuna fishery, which when you're watching documentaries, like over there, it's not even far. You can see it, probably throw a stone and hit it if you've got a decent throw. The people that own the bluefin tuna, they're saying, oh, no, they're saying, what is it called? They do it in hunting. I can't remember what it's called. They're basically doing animal control. They're trying to say the dolphins are overeating the tuna. So by killing off some of the dolphins, we're actually helping the tuna population, which is a load of shit. Basically, this blue tuna fishery is trying to catch as much tuna as possible because dolphins, their natural prey are tuna. Dolphins eat tuna, which means the fisheries are competing with dolphins. So instead of competing with dolphins and letting nature do nature's course, they kill the dolphins. So they're trying to kill off the dolphins so there's less dolphins to eat the tuna, which means there's more tuna for them to catch and sell. Which, again, when you hear that, it's just like, so they're killing dolphins because they see dolphins as competition. Dolphins are, it's not like when you go to like America and they say we have to hunt wolves because they're taking out stock, or we have to hunt deer because when you have too much deer on land, the grazing, they can actually be bad for the environment. None of that. There's none of that at all. If anything, dolphins, as well as sharks and whales, are amazing and are actually needed in the oceanic environment. So yeah, the Japanese collect all these dolphins to get them out of the water because they see them as competition. They sell the ones they can sell. The ones they can't sell, they literally just kill them. Kill them in cold blood, all because they're eating their dinner. Which is fucking stupid. What else did they go on to? Sharks. They went on to sharks. Again, they talk about debates, but here we go. Around 10 humans are killed by sharks globally per year. Around 30,000 sharks are killed by... Oh, Jesus Christ. So, each year, they reckon 10 humans are killed by sharks. So every year, on average, 10 humans are killed by sharks. Per hour, so not a year, 10 sharks in a year kill a human. No, 10 humans in a year are killed by sharks. 30,000 sharks are killed per hour by fishing. Literally by fishing. And the worst, hold on a minute, the worst thing about this, the two worst things about this are, is one, I learned this from Blue Planet, even though I literally just said at the start of this, Blue Planet misdirected us. One, sharks are amazing for the ecosystem. Like, having sharks around is actually, I can't remember the details they go into, but having sharks around is actually really, really, really good for the environment. The guy explains it in the documentary in layers. Dolphins, sharks, and whales, they're like tier 1 of the predators. They keep everything else in checks. They stop prey from growing out of numbers by eating and killing prey, and so on. The circle of life, we all understand that. By overhunting the top level of prey, what then happens is the predators disappear. So level 2 prey, they then rise to the top. They now have no one hunting them to keep their numbers down. So then what happens is level 2 start eating everything below them until level 2 eventually die off. Everything dies off, so eventually you've only got like little plankton, all these things at the bottom of the sea, which one, humans can't live off. Two, they're not fertilizing the ocean and I don't know, however else they make the ocean, and everything grows. So they are fucking everything up. As you can tell, I'm not an expert in this. I just watched the documentary. Go and watch it yourself to get a better understanding. But they basically say you basically need apex predators to maintain life all the way down the food chain. Because the key goes, I've just got it up. When you kill off the top layer of sharks by fishing, the next layer down overpopulates. They then eat all the next layer down before dying off themselves, so on and so on. The pattern repeats itself. That's like what I just explained as well. And again, why are they killing the sharks? They are literally, and this is another thing, they are killing the sharks for one main reason. It's for their fins. And if you've ever seen like a video or picture of it, it's fucking horrific. They literally will capture the sharks while they're in the ocean, cut the fins off the sharks, and then leave the sharks in the ocean. Or they'll bring them on the boats, cut the fins off the sharks, and then throw the sharks back into the ocean to die. I don't think sharks are surviving without their fins. I'm sure it's integral to how they swim. And why are they cutting their fins off? For shark fin soup, which is only eaten in China. Again, this is only according to the documentary. The documentary says no one eats shark fin soup apart from China. So literally, all these sharks, 30,000 sharks are being killed per hour by fishing, and the majority of them are most likely being killed for shark fin soup, which is this whole documentary is so eye-opening. What else was that I had in my notes on there? We talked about sharks. Go and watch it. I spoke about the bycatch. Listen, you need to go and watch the bycatch, because this guy goes out and speaks to some of these organizations that are meant to be looking out for the marine life, and it turns out a lot of them are either turning a blind eye, they're being bribed, they're scared, or they're in cahoots with these organizations, which he does point out. He points out one of these or two of these organizations are under the same company, but they're meant to be fighting different. It's literally a whole thing out. It's a whole thing out there. So again, hold on a minute. Let me get back to this. So I've already mentioned bycatch. There's nothing new to mention about bycatch. Sustainable fishing. So this was another one they were talking about, because they spoke about sustainable fishing. And when they talk about sustainable fishing, at the very end of the documentary, it cuts to it's like a horror scene. It's the way they edit this scene and the way the scene is shot. It's like the start of a movie or the start of a CSI program. Basically, he's in a hotel room. He talks about sustainable fishing, says there is no such thing as sustainable fishing. Sustainable fishing is the only way we'll actually be able to survive. He says the most common way of sustainable fishing is called a grind, or is it a grind? It's a grind or a grind, something along the lines of that. I'm just trying to get the actual definition so you guys I need to keep talking, don't I? 'Cause I don't know if you guys can hear all that stupidness in the background. Yeah, so it's called the grindergrap, but it's also called the grind they went into there. So the grind is a type of dolphin drive hunting that involves beaching and slaughtering. Oh, Jesus. Here we go. So the grind app, it's for killing long-finned pilot whales, which you do see in there. It's a type of dolphin drive hunting that involves beaching and slaughtering long-finned pilot whales. This guy gets a call. He's talking about sustainable fishing. He gets a call while he's in his hotel room. It might be very set up, like he might have been out there and then recorded this for added effect, but he actually gets a call, shoots off somewhere. You then see him, he's like on a beach. There's loads of people, not loads, but there's a few people, not there is loads, there's loads of people all stood on the beach, like right near where the water is. There's boats all in the water, and you can see like a pod of whales all swimming. Now, at first, because he doesn't tell you what's happening, he doesn't tell you what he's going to, he literally just says it's happening, or if he does, I missed it. So I thought at first, there are some whales that might have been beached, or they're too close to land. He's heard this, he's probably gone out to see how a team or organization or how locals deal with this. I thought they were on the boats and they were trying to drive them away from the land. And then you realize as it goes on for a bit that the boats are actually the boats are here. You got like the boats are here, the whales are here, and then the beach is here. So in between the beach and the boats are the whales. So I was like, well, how are the whales meant to escape? And then all of a sudden it goes left. The screen starts flashing, so it goes from it plays like 2-3 seconds of video, flashes to an all black screen, cuts to a new scene of them still at the same area. It's just a different cut, back to black, different cut, back to black. You get the picture. It's very dramatic. And it's literally them. They drive the whales to the beach, and as soon as they get to the beach, music goes off. You hear people shouting. The men just literally run into the water. They run into the water, grab the whales, and just slit them. It's like they slit the whales' throats. They literally just start cutting the whales. They don't chop their heads off. They literally just slit the whales. Blood starts gushing out. The whales are dying. This is the most, apparently this is the most sustainable way of fishing. But it's not humane in the slightest. It is not humane. They literally slit their throats and leave the whales to die. Tie all the whales together and then drag them out into sea and use them to hunt dolphins, I believe, which is fucking ridiculous. If you go and watch Seaspiracy, the warning for the very ending, because it gets graphic, and I spoke to people that have watched this that said that they couldn't watch it or their partners couldn't watch it and they had to turn it off. All sorts of things like that. So here, this is what I was talking about earlier. So, while eating sustainably caught fish seems like the right thing to do, Ali shines light on how the Dolphin Safe and the Marine Steward Council labels might not be able to provide the assurance customers are looking for. So I spoke about this. So he asked in the film, can you guarantee that every can of fish labeled Dolphin Safe is actually Dolphin Safe? Mark J. Palmer from the Earth Island Institute of the organization, he manages the Dolphin Safe label. He's the guy that said, nope, this is word for word, nope, Nobody can. Once you're out there in the ocean, how do you know what they're doing? We have observers on board. Observers can be bribed. That's literally his statement. Responding to the documentary, the director of the International Marine Mammal Project of Earth Island said in a statement, the Dolphin Safe Tuna Program is responsible for the largest decline in dolphin deaths by tuna fishing vessels in history. Dolphin kill levels have been reduced by more than 95%, preventing the indiscriminate slaughter of more than 100,000 dolphins every year. That's their answer to it, basically. What Sorry for that rude interruption. What was I talking about? This is the issues of doing a podcast by yourself, especially when you're me. I think I was talking about that Mark J. Palmer basically saying no one can ensure that things are dolphin safe, which again is crazy. How do you manage the dolphin safe label and then be like, nope, no one can guarantee? Surely you've got to do things. In the documentary, he goes to all of these different people, the Earth Island Institute, he goes to the MSC, the Marine, whatever they call it, Marine Stewardship Council, the MSC, so basically, the Marine Stewardship Council, in terms of anything discriminating, they don't say anything bad on camera because he can't get an interview with them. He literally talks about how he's been trying for months to talk to these people. He's been sending letters, emails. He turns up to the office, gets told to wait. After waiting for like an hour or half an hour, he says still no one comes and he's asked to leave. All of this, and no one wants to talk to this guy who's doing a documentary. They've actually come out and put something on their website. It's like our Seaspiracy response, or our response to the Seaspiracy thing, which you had your chance to respond. You had your chance to talk to the guy while he was asking all these questions. But obviously they knew what they're doing is shit. So they wanted to wait a bit so they could actually think of a decent enough answer to lie to all these people. Fish farms. They took cover of fish farms as well, which is something I had no idea was a thing. So imagine battery chickens. You know, when you see battery chickens, you go to those big chicken farms. It's a massive barn. And you look inside, it's just 1,000 chickens all crammed in there together. Imagine that in the ocean. How do you do that in the ocean? They literally just drop metal cages into the ocean and then they have fish swimming in there. This was disgusting. So I think it was in Scotland. I'm sure the one he was talking about was in Scotland, or the one he visited was in Scotland. But again, when he was showing you the one, I'm sure it was one in Scotland, he was showing you. It was all about salmon. Was it a salmon one? I think it was a salmon one on there as well. So here you go. So what they explained to us is fish farms have been considered to be more eco-friendly than wild fishing because they're not being taken from the wild population. But actually what happens is some of the farmed fish are fed wild caught fish, which, imagine that. So this is one that he explained as well, which doesn't make any sense in terms of sustainability. They were like, fish farms are a lot more eco-friendly because we're not actually going out there to catch wild fish. Meanwhile, they're feeding the farmed fish with wild fish. So they still have to go and catch wild fish. And then they use this wild fish to feed the farmed fish. And then another thing, which was even stupider, is they have to get more, it takes more wild fish to feed the farmed fish. So for example, they don't use this. This is just how I understood it in my head. If there was 100 fish in this farm, they would have to catch 200 wild fish to feed these fish. Does that make sense? My explanation makes sense, but the whole situation of it's more eco-friendly, but you're killing even more, it didn't make any sense to me. And then apart from that, the farmed salmon would actually be grey if it wasn't fed chemical in its food that gives it its famous pink colour. Who knew it? So salmon's meant to be grey, but salmon actually comes out pink because of chemicals that's put in there. Other problems were shown, including, again, lice infestations. Who knew fish could get lice? I thought lice were only something that you got in hair. But there was lice infestations. There was videos and pictures of the salmon being eaten alive by sea lice parasites. Like you could see, like the scales were all gone. Some of them had bits missing from them. It was disgusting. Chlamydia. Some of the fish had, it was chlamydia or syphilis, one of the two. I think it was chlamydia. But some of the fish had chlamydia. Now, I don't understand how some of these things work, but I thought chlamydia was a sexually transmitted disease. Meanwhile, these fish in the fish farm have got chlamydia. And these are the fish that are being fish farmed, that are growing in Scotland, that get sent out to the supermarkets. And, oh, it was It was crazy. Blood shrimp, again, just when you think this documentary couldn't be any more exposure or make you any more shocked, talks about blood shrimps, which they compare to blood diamonds. They talk about blood shrimp is a horrible thing because they're using slave labor in Thailand to catch shrimps and prawns in the ocean. One former fisherman interviewed in the documentary talks about how he was abused, he was threatened at gunpoint. He was talking about how he used to see dead bodies in the ocean of some of his friends. He was like, yeah, people would be getting thrown overboard and tossed overboard, then a couple days later you would just see their body float past and everything like that. A bunch of people that were killed were locked in freezers. Why? I have no idea. But the way they do it is mad. The guy was talking about it. I don't know if he would be classed as vulnerable, but like he went out drinking, met the captain of the ship out on a night out. They were drinking together. They got really close. The captain invited him onto the ship. He was all buddy and pally with him. As soon as that ship took off and went into the ocean, he was like, the captain changed, never spoke to me, started abusing me, attacking me for no reason. And again, you're in the middle of the ocean, so what can you do? It was like anyone that's like, you're in the middle of the ocean, so again, if you can't get lifeboats, you can't just jump into the ocean and swim away. I swear it shows you a video of someone that gets in the ocean, they start getting shot. Like, you see the bullets hitting the water, so someone must try to jump in the water, they get thrown overboard and they start getting shot. The interviews with the people, like they've got their face blacked out, silhouette, voice change because of how scared they are that people are going to come back to them. They talked about how, in the last 5 years or something like that, 15 observers had been, this is why I need to write down more things when I'm watching these things, but I get so engrossed into it, I forget to take notes. But basically, he's on about how the observers, so these people that actually go on the boats, the ones that don't succumb to bribes, are threatened a lot. They talk about how, if you're on their ship and they don't like what you do, and they'll just throw you overboard, like it's you by yourself. These observers don't have a security team with them, nothing like that. They're just on there by themselves. If they don't succumb to the bribery or the threats, they're literally just shot and killed or just thrown overboard, never to be seen again. And then when the boat comes back and they ask the questions, they're like, where is such and such? Oh, you just go, so he got sick. When he got sick, wasn't feeling too well, wanted fresh air, got thrown overboard in a storm. We couldn't rescue him. And it's literally their word. It's literally their word. It's not even their word against anyone else's. It's their word because they're the only ones there. There's no CCTV. There's no permanent satellite watching them. Nothing like that. It's ridiculous. They talk about one observer woman. What is she doing? This one observer woman, her report got someone fired. I think her report either got someone fired or it got like a whole business or something important basically happened. She then started receiving death threats, and then 2 people pulled up to her home in, I think it was Thailand she was in, broke into her place, shot her straight in the head, execution style, killed her dead over this. And it was ridiculous. What else was there? Reducing fishing. Again, they were saying that reducing fishing is the only way forward. So they estimate now that we catch up to 2.7 trillion fish a year, which is equivalent to 5 million fish every minute, which means that we need to consider our consumptions. It says that less than 1% of our global oceans are protected from commercial fishing. Less than 1% of this big ass ocean is protected from commercial fishing. Like I said, I don't feel the best. You can hear me coughing and all sorts. So this podcast isn't going to go for much longer than this. But please go and watch Seaspiracy. Go for everything that I've just mentioned. You've got bycatch, the ridiculous amount of dolphins that are killed when they're trying to catch tuna. You then think to yourself, is there not something in place to protect these dolphins? Yes, there is. There's something called Dolphin Safe, who then, the guy that's in charge of the label, Dolphin Safe label, lets you know that there's no way you can guarantee it. Nobody can guarantee it. They have observers on board. Observers, he literally blatantly like, yeah, we have observers. Observers can be bribed. It's not like he even says, no, our observers can't be bribed. We go into strict detail to make sure we hire the best of the best that don't succumb to bribery. No, he was just like, yeah, they can be bribed. If they don't get bribed, they get threatened. This guy doing the documentary, anytime when he goes to Japan, when he goes to that Taiji Island, he's followed immediately. He gets followed by police, by undercover police. He sees everyone watching him. When he goes to the that ex-slave institution to speak to them, someone comes like, you need to stop recording right now. You need to leave. Like, police are coming. They literally stop mid-interview, pack everything up, hightail it out of there. Again, some of these things might be added for a bit of drama, but I don't think they needed to when you watch this documentary. It's a fascinating documentary, and the documentary has done what other documentaries have done for me in the past as well. And I've seen a few people saying it online. I think I'm going to give up fish. Not even just fish. I think I'm going to give up meat altogether. So again, I've got friends that are vegan. I did consider going vegan a few years ago, but I was like, nah, don't need to. I haven't watched What the Health or Cowspiracy. Again, these seem to be the two biggest documentaries that influenced my friends anyway. I was like, I don't want to watch it because I don't want to stop eating meat and all these sorts of things. Like, I know how bad meat can be for you, how bad dairy and all that things can be for you, so there's that. But watching this program, seeing the way that animals are slaughtered, realizing the effect that it has on the ocean, everything in totality. As soon as we finished watching it, my girlfriend was like, I'm not eating salmon again. I don't want to eat a salmon ever again. And I was like, listen, I'm the same with you. And then we looked at each other, had a conversation, was like, look, as soon as all the meat in our house is finished, should we just try it? Should we try it and go? We're going veggie first. So we're going to try it and go veggie. So once all the meat in our house, I say that and people are like, Myles, how much meat have you got in your house? I don't know about you lot, but do you not buy meat? You put meat in the fridge, and if it's going out of date, you put it in the freezer so it lasts longer. You can have it, so whatever. And we got chicken nuggets and things like that, fish fingers for the kids. But yeah, as soon as all the meat in our house is finished, we are going to attempt to go to the veggie lifestyle. And again, that's how much of an effect this documentary had on me, because I'm one of those people that after watching Blue Planet 2, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, no, say no to plastic straws, which we all know now isn't even that much of a big deal. And just think about the effect Blue Planet 2 had. Blue Planet 2 came out, it was seen internationally, and then I think it's within 6 months, I think within 6 months to a year of Blue Planet coming out, within 6 months of it coming out, all of these businesses worldwide were like, right, we're going to stop doing plastic straws. Restaurants, fast food, takeaways, all these were like, we're going to stop doing plastic straws. They started doing cardboard straws. A lot of places have stopped doing their usual containers and swapped them for like paper or foil containers, things like that. Plastic bags, we saw the whole 5p charge come in for plastic bags. All these things happen just from people talking about what plastic is having an effect on our sea. I don't know if we can call it propaganda, because plastic is affecting our sea, but it's just not the plastic we think. It's all these fishing gears. I can't make commercial stopping come to a close. Again, I can see why a lot of places haven't said anything about commercial fishing, because if you think about commercial fishing, you think about pet stores that get fish, they would have to stop. You think about all these restaurants and food places that sell fish, they would have to cut out a big portion of their menu. So I can see why when someone says, for example, plastic straws, we use plastic straws in our restaurant, it's fine, we'll get rid of plastic straws, start using paper straws. I apologize, my daughter's in the garden if you can hear her. Got rid of paper straws, get rid of plastic straws, start using paper straws. We can carry on doing what we do, but stop commercial fishing. That means we're not going to get fish, or we're not going to be able to get as much fish as we would like. All comes down to it. But like I said, guys, I feel like shit. Apologies that this is going to be a short one. But yeah, Seaspiracy. It's a Seaspiracy special. Go and watch Seaspiracy. I'll let you know next week when my vegetarian journey starts. If anyone's watching this that is a veggie or a vegan, any recipes that you've got, please do send my way. Hopefully, I'll be feeling 10 times better next week, and my special guest will be joining me for that one, because right now I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to go back in the house and just crawl back into my bed, even though I've got work to do. The joys. But that has been another episode of the Myles High Club podcast. I've been your host, Myles. Save our oceans, save our marine life. Until the next time, peace.